Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 402 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff. An apology, I don't think the YouTube video I was just checking, the YouTube video for episode 401 didn't get posted. I mean, it's streamed live, but the recording isn't there, so I will attempt to address that right after this meeting. Or meeting. Right after the stream. Yeah, the reason I was looking that up is there's a little, I wouldn't call it a tragedy, there's a little bit of a frustration. Let me share my screen and I'll describe what's going on. Hey, yeah, it's May 28th, 2025, episode 402. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. Today especially, let me go into details about why. So, we've been working on this like filter adult Rust component thing. And we've got the patches up, like on my, I have a fork of the application services repository, which is where the shared components, Rust-based shared components go on GitHub. I have a fork of it. I've pushed the filter adult module there, and I swear that last week, or not last week because I was away last week, the week before, we had demonstrated how the component could be brought in to the browser and actually like we could call it from Firefox. I swear we did that. I was just looking, and then I was like, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I couldn't find the code that I had written in my local repository. I couldn't find the integration code. I was like, did I forget to save it? Did I put it somewhere? Is Jujitsu hiding it from me somehow? Like I couldn't, did I label it incorrectly? So that's been a bit of a frustration. I've been hunting around for it. I was attempting to leaf through the last video to try and figure out where it went. Maybe I did something funny. Maybe I accidentally used my old clone of Mozilla Unified, the pre-Mercurial to Git migration, and that's where the code was. But I was seeking around, kind of in a panic. And then in the parallel, what I decided to do is basically just redo it. So in the background, I've gone ahead and I've like brought in all of the I've done all of the regeneration. I regenerated the filter adult module, and now I'm doing a local build. And unfortunately, the build's not done yet. It's been running for about 13 minutes. That's why I kind of like in a panic, just kind of like redid it all. So we're gonna have to start our integration work from scratch. Unfortunately, now the good news is that I think it's pretty straightforward. Nothing that we wrote last time was too sophisticated. It is frustrating. I do not like repeating myself, but the good news is, we get a second crack at doing it right, and the core of the logic is still, it's in the repository, the filter adult module that we wrote. So it's really just the integration stuff and the filter adult ESM module that Firefox Desktop uses. That's where we're going to be basically repeating ourselves from last time, and we will do that today. Now, I basically skipped over the preamble because this is this sort of like redoing work, which I hate redoing work. That was at the forefront of my mind. Let me zip back though, and talk a little bit about the agenda. The agenda. So I'm going to be filling out this agenda hopefully as we as I hack around, and you have access to it. So if you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the details section over there. If you're watching this on Twitch, check out the channel details. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the video description. And as this little spinny spins, if you reload the agenda, it should update. Excuse me. So what are we doing today? Redoing the filter adult sys.mjs work because I lost the code. What the heck? That is a very rare occurrence for me. I normally am able to keep track of where my code goes. That is particularly frustrating in that I had recorded myself doing it. Unless I'm completely hallucinating. Can someone back me up? Like, can someone tell me if I'm just like inventing history? Did I hallucinate it? Did we actually succeed 2 weeks ago in integrating filter adult, the Rust component, in desktop? I'm fairly certain that's what we did. I haven't gone through and finished watching the recording or leafing through it, but I swear that that's what we did. Someone please double check my thinking there. The good news is that this build's almost done, And while we're waiting on that, we can continue at pace. Let's go ahead and do the work. So what we're going to be doing is keeping some of this, but we are going to lazily import. Let's see. Yeah, how did I want to do this? I probably did it like this last time. Chrome utils define lazy define ES module getters. I probably did this. Rust filter adult. Is that what it's called in here? It's probably called like a component. Filter adult component. Filter adult component from Chrome. Not Chrome. Resource. Jiri modules. Rust filter adult.sys.mjs. And then we don't need the set around anymore. We don't need the hash. We don't need the hasher. We don't need this giant thing that is now contained within the Rust module. And it's just this stuff. And we don't need add or remove from set anymore. And so what we'll do is filter. This is where we can like use filter adult component, and we have to init it. So there's an initting step. I'll bet you what I did was I turned this into a class. Filter adult constructor. Component.init, because we have to instantiate it. Backend equals null. Let's say this dot backend. Or maybe I'll just call it comp for component. We'll init like that, and then filter you call with links, and then what we'll do is if not this dot comp, and what is the function? Contains. If it doesn't contain then we will return true. Otherwise, if something throws in here, we'll return true. That it should. When you filter, true means keep it in what's being filtered. So I guess if all else fails, we'll just keep it. And down here, it's not exactly the inverse. It's but yeah, it is a little bit the inverse. We're going to be returning this contains and then the base domain like that. That's what we'll do. And then the pattern is let's see here. You can expose it like this. Export const filter adult equals new filter adult. And you can also export the class. Right. I guess this doesn't need to be lazy, since we know this will definitely execute as soon as it's imported. So I think we can probably do it like this. that should work. And then let's see where we are with our build. We're almost there. We're getting through third party now. So it's gonna build all that stuff. Hopefully this build goes through. And now let's take a look at our test. Test filter adult. Now, something that I had tinkered, or we'd been talking a little bit about, and I think I recall leaving undecided or unsorted last time, was, you know, we had this old function on the component, on the original module, to add and remove test domains, and we have that in the Rust component. We don't expose that to our consumers. We don't allow them to sort of manage it. So then how do you like test that it's working without, without hard coding in some like actual adult website domain into our suite? And I think I've come up with a solution that doesn't involve us using a canary domain or a sort of like a always ensuring that there's some kind of like testing domain inside of the set, because that sounds a little brittle. And what I'm thinking of doing is we can use Sign-On to stub out the Rust filter adult instance, maybe. What we'll need to do is construct on construction. Let's see here. Use Sign-On to make it so that upon construction, we will stub out init to return a very simple stub that we can overload on the contains method, and that will be our way of testing. We can just ensure that it's being called with the right thing. 401 is just unlisted on YouTube. That's right, it's unlisted. It needs to be listed. There's a step. So after I'm finished running a stream, it automatically goes to unlisted, and then the reason for that is so that I can I like to re-encode. I don't like the way that YouTube encodes and does the compression. I like take the recording. I'm recording this locally. I do recompression. It's also an opportunity for me to do any editing if something goes like horribly wrong and I need to edit something out. Like, for example, if there's something like a real major technical foul up, or in the worst case scenario, I put something in front of the screen that is really you shouldn't have seen. Like, for example, a private key or something. Now, normally I would like immediately rotate those, but I'll unlist the episode. I will like edit that out of the video. I don't normally cut things from the videos, as I don't like to put that amount of effort into the stream, but in the event that it occurs, I will like cut that part out if something like super catastrophic was accidentally recorded. I unlist all of the live recordings and then post to my site the ones that are cut around. For things like like that actually happened. There was a key that I think I accidentally, this is long ago, as back when I was first streaming, I opened up my like HGRC file, which is like the Git equivalent of like git config, or it's the Mercurial equivalent of git config, and inside of that was because we were using something called Moz Review at the time, which allowed us to push to our code review tool from Mercurial, and there was a private key listed inside there. So I'm like streaming and I open up the file and like scroll down and this private key hits the screen. I'm like, oh shoot. And I like scroll it out immediately, and like I'm recording, I'm talking. I don't remember what happened, but I remember in the background scrambling off screen to like rotate the key. I'm like, revoke. I don't know how much of a delay there is. The private key wouldn't have allowed an attacker to do a whole lot. I think they would have allowed them to impersonate me. But like as soon as it happened, I was like, oh geez, rotate all the keys. I hit all the buttons, and thankfully I was able to do that fairly quickly. But that can happen, and I'm pretty sure I edited that out of the recording. Okay, so where are we at with this build? We're almost done. We're like building the tests now, so that happens right towards the very end. So we're nearly there. Let's take a look at test filter adult. Yeah, we're gonna not. I guess. Yeah, we'll pretend that we'll keep that stuff around. Filter empty. Empty is the empty object. Filter. So what we'll do, we'll stub it out for the ones where we're actually testing domains. I think that's what we'll do. And we can get rid of this test when prefed off. Yeah, I guess that is something we, instead of it returns false, the test will be that the Rust component, it returns false, and also that the Rust component isn't called. It shouldn't be called if this pref is false. This needs to make sure that we're actually just calling our component. Returns false for non-adult URLs. I guess we can just like make sure we'll call the real one with that one. And we'll call the real one with that one. For the pref being off, that's adding a domain. We'll just need to make sure that the Rust component's not being called. So you can break this up into two pieces. There's filter and then is adult URL. We're going to test them individually. And then within those, there's two different kinds of tests. There's tests that are actually calling the underlying Rust component. And then there's tests that will stub out the underlying Rust component with something else, something simpler that we can sort of manipulate. And then making sure that in certain cases, especially when this filter adult thing is off, that we never call our Rust component and that we return true. False, rather, to filter things out. We return false for anything that, even if it is an adult URL, and we don't filter anything out. That is the thing. Okay, so the build worked. We've got our build here. So let's set this up. I'm going to divide this into visually. I don't know if I'll keep it like this, but we're going to divide this up into two chunks. This is the is adult URL chunk. And then there's the filter tests. Let's skip all of these for now. So this is how we can skip tests. We'll skip all of these. We won't run them. We're just going to test these. Save the original preference value to restore later. So this is pretty old school. What we really want to do is ensure for these tests. Well, actually, we can enable it. We ensure it's enabled inside of the XPC shell definition here. So what I'll do is I'll go prefs equals that is true. And then we can just get rid of like this module's these tests are pretty old, so they're doing some old school stuff. We can get rid of that altogether. Okay, and now let's go through our let's start with just this one test. So what I'll actually do is I'll just only this one only. Also let's just manually test it. Let's manually test it like last time. Failed to load Rust filter adult. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. Nothing's there. Modules Rust filter adult system.js. Did I not add it to moz.build? Pretty sure I did. Components. Filter adult. Oh, right. These are Moz source files now. This has changed. This is new. So we actually, we're moving away from resource URIs, and instead, this is really interesting. I need to see how to reference these things now. So Rust context ID, let's look for Rust suggest. Who's using Rust suggest and how they do it? It's just Moz source toolkit. Okay, so this is how we're doing it. Moz source toolkit components generated Rust filter adult. That's how we'll do it. All right, let's build faster, and then yeah, we're transitioning away from resource URIs slowly but surely, and that's going to actually, like, the mapping of the URL path to where code actually is in the source tree is supposed to be like 1-to-1, and that's really going to help with internal tooling, as well as like modern IntelliSense style like IDEs, modern IDEs, because like our resource and Chrome URIs are meaningless, and we've had to like really kind of tie ourselves into pretzels to get our tools to understand them, and get new hires to understand them, because they are very weird and obscure. Okay, so that's working. So let filter adult equal. I mean, this is a good opportunity for us to make filter adult a Moz source module as well. But here we go. Import es module resource Jiri. No, sorry. It's /modules filter adult.system.js. Filter adult. Great. Contains, or is adult URL mozilla.org. False. And I think the one we did find was true is xxx.com. Oh no. Do I have to supply? Is this working correctly? Is this actually calling into our module? Let's double check here. Filter adult. Okay. This we want I flipped it again. This needs to be true. This comp contains services. This, yeah, etld get base domain URI. True. Okay. So flipped a bit. So mozilla.com is probably going to return true. Yeah, okay. That's what happened. This is why we test. Okay. So our test here, test defaults to include unexpected URLs. Let's describe what we're saying here. Tests that filtering doesn't strip out objects that don't include the URL property. So that should, I think, still pass. Let's find out. Mock test filter adult.js. Are we going to do the same for Chrome : //? I think that's an eventual goal. Right now we're just starting with resource. Chrome is a little weird. I think that one is harder for us to transition, but it is a goal. I think Chrome URLs have also just kind of confused people because they confuse it with the browser, the Chrome browser. So over time, I think the intent is to attempt to switch a lot of things to Moz source, not only just to make it clearer and for our tooling, but also to get rid of confusion over what's the difference between resource. What's the difference between resource and Chrome? It's like it's too much implementation detail is revealed through those things. Okay, so that passes. Let's do the next one. Tests that filtering doesn't strip out objects that include non-adult URLs for the URL property. URL property. All right, so we're gonna say like const test non-adult site URL. We're gonna say that that is Mozilla.org. We are not an adult website. And that should come back to us. Come back to me. Okay, so that works. This one, add a domain to the list. Now we don't actually want to do this. We want to make sure that it is properly filtering out tests that filtering will call into the underlying Rust filter adult Rust component, and that if that component computes that the URL is an adult URL, that it gets filtered out. Okay, so this is where we'll go a little special here. We're going to, how are we going to do this? We are going to get sign-on imported. Test sign-on. Chrome utils import ES module. So we got sign-in now. Will sandbox equals sign-on, create sandbox, and then we will sandbox restore at the end of our test. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sandbox stub, and then we are going to actually import the Rust module filter adult component. Const filter adult component equals Chrome utils import ES module. We're gonna bring that in. It's a little like knowing too much about the inner workings. This is a leak. This is we're a little bit violating principle of least knowledge, because we're basically, we're not dependency injectioning, but we're manipulating some of the internals of how it works by changing a different module. But that's kind of how unit tests work. Like, what we have are two units talking to one another, and some of these tests are testing that the two units are talking together properly, and now we're just going to isolate the filter adult sys.mjs unit and make sure that it's doing the right thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to say sandbox stub filter adult component init, and what it's going to do is it's going to returns a special object, a fake fake Rust component equals contains, right? Like that's the only thing that is on it. Contains base URL. And this is actually, we're going to say this is a sandbox.stub. We're going to stub that out. Returns fake Rust component. And then filter adult. We're going to import the class as well. Now instantiate a new instance of filter adult so that it uses our fake component on construction. Let instance equal filter adult, new filter adult. And then what we'll do is pretend that test adult site URL is an adult website. Stub. But all other sites are not. Fake Rust component dot contains what we'll do is there's a way in sign-on to be like return this, or like have the stub sign-on stubs. It's like return if. Return like with, oh yeah, with args, with args, with args. If it's called with, well, because there's going to be a transform that occurs in here if we're calling filter, because we're going to construct a URI, the base domain. What's the base domain? Is that string? It's going to be a string, right? Okay. Okay, that's all right then. So const test adult site base domain equals some adult site.com. Pretty sure that's how that's gonna work. Let's double check. If we, how does this work? If we do services etld get base domain services to I on new URI, and then we pass in this, then we should get some adult site.com. Great. I guess what I'll do is I'll instead of hard coding that, I'll just do this. Test adult site URL. Great. Stub returns fake Rust component. Contains dot with args can I like, how do I, with args, stealth method only for the provide arguments. Return the argument at the provide index. Returns, makes step return the provide value. Resolves, throws. Say, okay, so I want like with fake Rust component contains returns false, but with args test adult site base domain returns true. And then filter, assert equal result length, and then clean up. That should pass, I think. Let's see if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Okay. Does not pass. Why not? So let us step through this. Debugger, JS debugger, debugging, connect to the instance, run. Okay, so we're debugging our test here. Boop, badoop, boop, boop, filter adult filter. Okay, so if I go this.comp, oh, you know why? I'm not using instance. That's why. Instance filter, because I was using the real one. Let's try that then. Yeah, that works. So use our fake component. I wonder if we could if we can make this more generic. Fake rest component. Like something like with fake filter adult, and it takes it takes a function that accepts an instance and then we can do that, and then with fake filter adult we'll do all our boilerplate here. Oh, it should also take the sandbox. So it gets a sandbox. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create all of this stuff. And then task function instance. Get rid of this. See if that works. Okay, and then we can reuse that down here only. So await special powers, push pref env set false, and then with fake filter adult, I need our sandbox set up. Create sandbox. And then clean up. Sandbox, stop restore. Don't need to reset the pref. Push pref env will do that for us. All right, so this should pass. Special powers is not defined. Special powers, push pref env. Oh, we don't have special powers in NextBC shell tests. That's too bad. All right. In that case, yeah. Services prefs set bool pref false, and then true. Great. Okay, so those are all done. And so all of the filter tests, let's test that filtering will I guess what we really need to do here is assert okay instance I guess it can also get the stub fake Rust component fake Rust component assert okay fake Rust component dot contains not called. Rust component was not called when disabled. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. Let's move on then. Oh, this will need documentation to do document. Test that filtering will not filter anything, adult, site, or otherwise, when the filtering pref is disabled. Filtering pref is false. The test will ensure that the underlying Rust component is never called when the pref is false. Never actually called. Okay, is adult URL tests. Here we go. Now that I've sort of got my head in the game here. These should be, I think, somewhat similar, but test that is adult URL will return false for things that aren't technically URLs. Okay, so tests will return false things that are not adult URLs. So non-adult site. So that should all pass now. Okay. Test that is adult URL will return true for things that the underlying Rust component considers an adult URL. So with fake filter adult sandbox instance I mean, that should be okay. Test we should actually get some strings here to mention what's being asserted. let sandbox sign on create sandbox. Sandbox.restore. Stop skipping this. And then assert okay. Adult site was classified as adult, being for adults. Okay. There are some other asserts here that we need to add. Assert equal did not filter any items. The items were not changed. Did not filter any items. The items were unchanged. Assert equal filtered an adult site link. Assert equal did not filter an adult site when disabled. Did not alter an adult site link when disabled. Not called when disabled. And then this should be assert okay, not result. Invalid URLs are not considered adult. Non-adult sites are not considered adult. The site was classified as being for adults. And this last one tests that, and this is similar to this one. Tests that is adult URL will not return true when the filtering pref is false, even if passed an adult site. Filtering pref. This doesn't really help. Okay, so what we'll do is very similar to this. Filter adult. Is adult URL test adult site, that should return site was not classified because because filtering is disabled. And then we're also going to make sure that the fake Rust component was not called. And that's it. Sandbox not defined. Yeah, sorry about that. Need these parts. We did it, everybody. We did it. Wow. Okay. So I think we've got ourselves a ball game here. I do wonder if this get base domain needs to also get ported to Rust so that I wonder who else uses this actually. Who else uses get base domain? Looks like it's used all over the place. Third-party util. What is this Mozai third-party util? Oh, window hierarchy is third party with respect to a known URI. Is that what we're doing here? ETLD get base domain. Is that different from? I feel like there's like two instances of this. Oh, the signatures are slightly different. I wonder what application services. Is there anything like get base domain here? Ah. Host parse base. We first parse the image. Get by base domain. Oh, this is by, sorry, to consume with base domain. Create a decrypt and fix up log, which is both performance value and fix up log is eliminated. The need for get all, get by base domain, get by ID API functions to perform the fix up logic. It does seem as if it would be good to port some of that stuff to Rust as well. Base domain. Do we have like, what is it use? Does it use like Neko? N-E-Q-O. Neko. Base domain. No. That's not quite right. I do wonder if there's something that does this. But maybe we don't have to worry about it. Okay, well, you know what? I'm pretty happy. We got ourselves we've got ourselves tests written, having vendored in a bunch of stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna commit the parts that I care about. The third party upstreaming, maybe care less about. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go JJ restore third party. Bear with me. JJ. We're gonna get rid of that as well. These things we want to keep. We're gonna keep that. Keep all of this stuff, and we're gonna create a commit here. JJ commit M, and there is actually a bug for this. Filter adult bug such and such. Wrap filter adult. Have filter adult wrap. Delegate lookups to Rust Rust component. Share Rust component. And then over in JJ edit QW, or new QW, I'm not going to edit it. This is where I will do block vendor Rust and force. I think I actually have to force it to get what I wanted. It's going to bring in a bunch of stuff, and it's missing a bunch of audits, which I don't fully understand what's going on there. Obviously, we're going to want to have that stuff audited before we bring in the third-party bits and pieces, but this is just for my local testing. And then what I'll do is commit Rust vendoring, actual third-party vendoring. Then we'll rebase this WM. Rebase our WM onto YO. Oh, I love Jujitsu so much. So that'll do it, I think. And so what I think I need to do now is post the filter adult pull request. I actually need to like make a pull request. Now that we know that this thing kind of works properly and we've got the bits and pieces in place to actually use it, I guess it's pull request time. So let's take a quick peek at our patch, our actual difference. JJ show LR. So the first thing that changes is like we've changed cargo lock, I guess. That maybe just happens whenever you bring some stuff in. I don't know. Added a filter adult and the import site list binary. And then, oh yeah, the import site list binary. And then, sorry, the site list binary and then the import site list script, the utility, which we started to simplify a little bit. And then the error, and then lib. That looks right. Okay. All right. So what I want to do is cargo clippy. Make sure that we're following our all our clippiness. Cargo format. No changes. Great. So now, is there anything else that we need to read about or do? Ingest filter adult. Tests. No. All right. Let's Let's pull request, gang. I think that's it. Okay. Filter adult. So I want to create a pull request from this. How do I contribute? Open pull request. Do Clippy or you will get clipped. Correct. This PR has no breaking changes. There are corresponding PRs for any consumer application. Quality. Yeah. The PR builds and tests run cleanly. Yes. Tests. Oh, I need to update the change log. So there is something we need to do here. Code change log. I did this with context ID. Filter adult. How did I do this whenever I did this with context ID? There. If we look at the diff, what did I do? I just added it. Before that, let's see, when they added start release 140, and then what did they do here? They just added it above full changelog in progress. Okay, so that's what I'll do. Filter adult. Added the first version of a component for filtering URLs for adult sites. Version of a component for filtering URLs for adult sites for surfaces like new tab, home. For checking URLs, I guess I'll not prescribe what it's used for. First version code for checking URLs against a hash set of adult websites. Hash set of adult website URLs. Get a list. Checking URLs if URLs exist in a list. Checking if base domains exist in a list of base domains for adult websites. Okay. And now what do I need documentation wise? What did I add for context ID? README. So I'll need a README. New file. README.md. What did I write in here? Filter adult. The filter adult. So run with cargo test. Filter adult. The filter adult module will check will compare the base domain of a URL against a static list of base domains that are considered base domains for what are considered adult sites. A base domain here, get base domain. A base domain in this context is the same base domain that is returned by NSI effective TLD service dot get base domain. And then I'm going to link to the source code. Is the same base, compare the base domain string. All right, so we'll add that JJ file track readme. Absorb, or JJ squash rather. And then we'll go ahead and JJ git push remote me. And then compare pull request. I'll copy what I had going on over here. Includes a change entry. It should. It does, right? JJ show filter adult. Changelog. Yeah. Changelog. Any dependencies. Yes. Now, what did I... Cargo.toml. What did I have for dependencies? Base64, clap, error support, MD5, regex, this error, and unify. Yeah. Nothing too dramatic. And then we will request a review from Ben. Create pull request. This is for, and then I'll link to this bug. Open the pull request for the Rust component at such and such. Once that's merged into application services, I'll post the patches that vendor it in. I'll request review on the patches that vendor it in, integrate it with filter adult system.js. Now we can actually post maybe WM here, JJ show WM, and that's just importing the module. We might want to split that out from the we might want to split this into two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go JJ edit WM, JJ diff And the changes under toolkit, I'm going to have be 1 commit. JJ toolkit. Well, what do I want to do here? Split. JJ split. So all of these go into 1. Have filter. So I'm gonna copy that, but part 1. Vendor in filter adult Rust component. Or generate unify bindings for filter adult Rust component. And part 3. And part 1 will be the actual vendoring. Show yo. There's nothing there in yo. JJ abandon yo. And then vendor and filter adult actual third-party vendoring. Those two should probably be squashed together. Edit. Well, no. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna JJ bookmark create for LYP. We're gonna call this filter adult. And then I'm gonna git check it. I have to switch to git now because MozFab doesn't really work well with. Oh, whoops. Where am I? Right, I'm editing it right now. Okay, so JJ new. Check out filter adult. MozFab doesn't really work well with JJ currently, but someone's working on that. Git show. So this is right. That's what we want. We're gonna bring that stuff in and the test changes and all that good stuff. Oh, I want to split this out on JJ log. JJ edit LYP. JJ split. First commit, this is like doc changes for Rust component. And part 3. And then we want to squash JJ edit LYP. We're going to squash that into the parent. I love Jujitsu so much. So much easier to maintain stuff. JJ new SMZ. JJ show SMZ. Yeah, and then test. Oh, I forgot to document this, so we're going to document that now, and then I'll probably call the episode done after I post this for review. So let's go ahead and document that right now. Where am I? Yeah, okay. So filter adult. Instantiates a new instance of filter adult, but wrapping a sign on a stubbed out version of the filter adult component, Rust component, that always returns true for, always returns false for the contains call, except when that call passes test adult site-based domain. So I believe how we've done this in the past is, what do we call these things? Sandbox. We just call it sandbox or sign-on sandbox. Call it sign-on sandbox. This is a function. A sign-on sandbox that will be used to generate stubs. A synchronous testing function that will be and the function, we can describe what it will take. Function. There's a way for us to describe what it takes. I've seen this function. Yeah. Function. It just gets past what? The instance. So filter adult and a sign-on stub. That will be called with the fake instance of filter adult, as well as the stub for the contains call on the fake Rust component, so that callers can check if the stub is ever called. Okay, there we go. JJ Squash. I love it. I love it. I love you, Jujitsu. You're the best. Best version control system I've ever used. I prefer it to Mercurial, actually. Mercurial was great. I love you, Mercurial. I miss you, Mercurial. Jujitsu is like the rebirth of Mercurial for me. Yeah, I love it. Okay, and now I can git checkout filter adult. And yeah, I'll just merge these two. JJ edit ZR. JJ squash. Part 1. Bug such and such. Part 1. Vendor and filter adult. Rust component from application services. USMZ. And then git checkout filter adult mozfab submit filter adult whip. And that should be that. Failed to find any commits. Git log. Oh, maybe I just do mozfab submit whip. There we go. Posting. Well, with that, I think we're going to call it there, everybody. You can check out those patches. I'll put a link to the... let me put some links in here. Here's the link to the pull request. You can check out the patches. There's the pull request. The patches to integrate the component into Firefox Desktop. They're all in here. Are attached to this bug. Hey, let me know what you thought of this episode. I apologize that I basically redid, at least for the first little while, a lot of what was in the last episode with integrating it. But yeah, that's it. So a great question from Danny. Danny goes, what's next on your list? Well, that's a really good question. I'm wondering if we could find something interesting to do in New Tab Land. That's where a lot of my attention has been focused outside of streaming. Like, that's the team that I'm working on now, is in Firefox New Tab. So maybe we can find some projects in there that that are nice and meaty and good for a stream. We've got a couple of options here. What I've been doing for a while now, I'd say for the past year or so, is these streams. I work on one thing consistently from stream to stream until it's done from start to finish. I know a lot of people were enjoying that, but maybe you want to see some more one-off stuff where you kind of get you basically ride along. The stream starts and I'm like halfway through something and you just kind of see what I'm doing that day. We can do that too. Let me know what you're thinking or what you would prefer. You can send me feedback in this Rate This Episode link, which I will now drop into the chat as well. Rate This Episode link. And give me some feedback of what you'd prefer to see. Or maybe you have ideas of other stuff I could do, or questions or something. That's a great way to give me feedback on what I can do in the stream. And we'll figure it out. And I think we'll call it there. Thanks, everybody, for watching episode 402 of The Joy of Coding. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.